Sekeres and Price for Friday, November 28th, 2025, a presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sekeres alongside Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches and conducting things. We have a bit of a special show for you here today. Full disclosure, we are recording this show on Thursday. We looked at a 1 p.m. Vancouver Canucks start in San Jose for the American Thanksgiving Black Friday and thought, maybe we won't do a show that day. I mean, there's a hockey game right in the middle of the day. But we did decide to... Well, it's these Whitecaps, Blake. Oh, my God, these Whitecaps.
Biggest game in MLS franchise history.
The imagination, the attention, the affection of Vancouver and beyond, and said, no, we absolutely have to do a show heading into the biggest Whitecaps match in its MLS history, biggest soccer match for Vancouver in decades. Plus, we got a new teammate here this week, which was a bit of a surprise, and we wanted to get him on a show to speak about his time in Vancouver and to let us know what's next. So Dan Riccio is going to join us here in the Pacific Toyota Dealers Studio. That's coming up. We start with the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. Is a late first-round pick good enough return for Kiefer Sherwood? You can vote yes, you can vote no. Do so at the Sekeres and Price X and YouTube channels. Mr. Price, what says you?
Yeah. It is. It's very fair. I think that the Canucks can expect to get that at this point. I don't expect that a guy with his resume is going to get anything more than that. The only other way you could use Kiefer Sherwood via a trade for something netted bigger than that is as part of a package. So you could get Sherwood and something for something more. But if we're just talking about a trade of Kiefer Sherwood, yeah, a late first-round pick is going right.
I think you're selling Kiefer Sherwood and the asset short. I'm reminded of what David Pagnotta of the fourth period in DFO Insider told us yesterday. He's got three things going for him in spades. He scores goals, he hits people, the cap hit is minuscule. I'll add that he's a playoff performer, was outstanding for the Nashville Predators a couple of years ago against the Canucks. So I voted no. I want a sweetener on top of a late first-round pick. I want a mid-round pick, or I want a prospect who's got some pedigree but is stalling out, or even a longer shot prospect. I want something beyond just a late first-round pick for Kiefer Sherwood. I don't think that's being greedy. If you're selling early, you're going to have Kiefer Sherwood for 50 or so games in your NHL. You got plenty of time to get him integrated and accustomed to his new teammates. Plus, you get the playoff run. Plus, you get all this time to be able to talk to him about a contract extension, should you be so inclined before July 1st. So I want more than a late first-round draft pick, and I hope the Canucks get... Well, hey, it's Thanksgiving in the U.S.
Gluttony.
Time for gluttony.
Yeah.
I don't just want the turkey. I want the brisket as well.
Brisket? They do brisket there?
Well, we do brisket.
For U.S. Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Really? Never heard of that. I love brisket. I'm willing to eat it whenever.
How do you... If you don't like brisket.
Yeah.
So there you go. Disagreement here on the show. Perhaps like a Thanksgiving get-together, right? Not everyone's going to get along.
Hey, if our disagreement is whether or not the Canucks get an additional fourth-round pick.
Third. I want a third.
You want a third?
They don't have a third in 2026. Replace that pick for
You
me.
want symmetry. Okay.
Our friends at the Redwoods Golf Course specialize in custom corporate events, and theirs can be a little different than your average get-together. Why not get onto that heated, covered driving range with your group, have some fun hitting the little white ball around. Some people will be great. Some people will be awful. Laughs will be had. You do want some instruction. Their lead teaching professional, Craig, can be a part of this, give you a few pointers. He certainly helped Blake and I. And if you have a child aged 6 to 16, set them up for the sport of a lifetime. Private, semi-private lessons available. Go to redwoods-golf.com. Let's get to our top story, brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Thanksgiving feast. No more baseball or CFL, but this buffet of autumn sports continues for local sports fans. Canucks play twice on this U.S. Thanksgiving weekend. Whitecaps play their biggest match in decades tomorrow in San Diego for the right to play for the MLS Championship. You've got the Canucks versus Macklin Celebrini. Vancouver's net Macklin Celebrini. North Shore today from the Shark Tank. A reminder that JPAD and the rink-wide Vancouver crew will have you covered for this game seconds after the final gun this afternoon. Quick turnaround for the Kings Saturday at Crypto. The Canucks are going to save this season. Well, I think they need to get these games. These are direct competitors, Pacific Division rivals. Sharks and Kings 3 and 6 points ahead, respectively, in the wild card race.
And God willing, you'll be able to watch a Whitecaps victory and then tune over to the third period of the Canucks and Kings. A 6 o'clock kickoff for the Caps. Mm-hmm. So you can see the culmination of both of those games on Saturday night.
Well, the one from San Diego is huge. Snapdragon Stadium, where the Whitecaps can punch a ticket to MLS Cup with a win over the first-place expansion side from America's finest city. We just hope the pitch is fine. They had a huge problem with it Monday for the Western Conference semifinal versus Minnesota. Chewed up by football, rain-soaked, sanded, and broken, in the words of one SDFC player. A reminder, everybody, because this was not the case for Soccer Bowl 1979. That was a neutral site at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Vancouver could host MLS Cup, the Super Bowl of North American soccer, a week from Saturday at BC Place if New York City FC, NYCFC, is able to upset Miami in tomorrow's Eastern Conference final. If the Caps win and Miami wins, then it's a rematch with Messi at his house in South Florida. Either way, a delicious final, either versus the best player in soccer history or at home against a team from the biggest market in the league.
You'd be asking the Whitecaps to beat Messi and Inter Miami for a third straight match. Cross bridges when you get to them. My bigger point is it will be Miami. Like I give...
You're giving New York virtually no chance.
Virtually no chance.
Now, they were counted out by just about everyone against Philadelphia, too, on the road against the best team in the East, and somehow, some way, pulled off a 1-0 victory where they were hanging on, but they got the job done.
Ironically, it was Red Bulls last year that went on the storybook run to make MLS Cup before they were beaten. So New York teams have done this before. The biggest problem is not so much just on paper what that Eastern matchup. Miami has found something. Suarez coming off the bench. They are playing a very aggressive game.
They got a lot better after putting the great Suarez on the bench and using him as a super sub where he doesn't have to play for an extended period.
Well, and they play way faster without him, and it is something to behold. So that's why I don't see the way they're playing now. In fact, the old Miami, I think NYCFC's got a legit chance. The new Miami, I don't think so. And as we dovetail back to the Whitecaps, that's the other interesting thing about this matchup with San Diego is the depth on both sides. We've chronicled that the Whitecaps get no worse in the second half when they bring in their bench players, because lately it's been guys like Cabrera, Nelson, and Gauld that you have no problem with any of those players in your 11. That's the bench for the Whitecaps. While Chucky Lozano and Luca De La Torre are national team players for Mexico and the U.S., and those are the bench players right now for San Diego, first off the bench. Mm-hmm. They are very deep and very good as well.
You were telling me this San Diego team is somewhat a a Mexican club team, basically, that their fan base and their personnel is, and of course, just across the border there from Tijuana.
Yeah, apparently they draw fans from all over and even across the border down in the Baja. So, it's sold out in seconds.
Oh, seconds.
The atmosphere is going to be spectacular there.
Has been all year there, too.
Yeah.
This has been one of the great success stories of MLS expansion.
Yeah, 35,000, so a good-sized stadium. And the weather looks good, 18 degrees and sunny, which is good in this regard. It's not going to be sweltering heat for the Whitecaps to deal with. It's just going to be a nice soccer match, hopefully on a decent pitch.
35. I mean, it's a quaint stadium. For a little village like San Diego. Huh?
It's probably too late for this.
Oh, no.
Should the Whitecaps in the back channels...
He's workshopping again.
Should the Whitecaps in the back channels be on the off chance that they get to host, be sourcing a grass pitch for the final?
No.
No? Use your advantage?
Yes.
I mean...
You heard how shook Hugo Lloris was about the pitch?
No, that's true. From that side of it...
That's part of your home pitch advantage.
Now, remember they rolled one in for what game was it? A Canada game.
Right.
And Ali Ahmed played on that, and he said, gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyways, our village as well. Long live the village. What's up with our friends at Yellow Dog this week?
Fabulous deals on beers all month long. Don't miss out on the High Five Hazy IPA on special for the month. Look for it on sale at the private and government liquor store of your choosing.
Let's get into Crave the Stats. It's brought to you by Uber Eats. And today we look at Whitecaps midfielder and Canadian international, Mr. Ali Ahmed.
Ali Ahmed is now 100 matches old in his Whitecaps career.
Good for him.
He became the first ever Whitecaps FC2 MLS Next Pro product to reach the milestone. Here is the one, I don't know, what's the opposite of silver lining? Coal lining to this wonderful story. If the Whitecaps don't pull it up on the weekend, is match number 101 Ali Ahmed's last for the Whitecaps.
What are we saying here?
There's been a lot of interest,
he's a good player. If only he could kick a ball.
To this point, it has been, ironically, only kicking of tires, I will say, on Ali Ahmed. Nothing has been too concrete in terms of European interests, but it is expected that it will come. Mm-hmm. For the most part, the rumor and innuendo is for next summer, leading into a full European season.
Right.
It's less likely to be in the MLS offseason, but it's not impossible.
The joke about Ali Ahmed around the team is, years ago, the joke about Ben Hogan was he's a great golfer if only he could putt. Ali Ahmed is a great footballer if only he could kick a ball. He is the most maddening guy in and around because he will do so many great things.
Yeah.
And then will have the ball on his foot in a great scoring, kicking position.
And it is a wet noodle.
And he just, he cuts across it and he never quite gets it flush. Anyways, he has been one of the many Caps players who has filled in, been a utility club, improved individually, and helped get them to this level where they're at now. Also with Ryan Lumi and Jeevan Badwal of Surrey amongst the academy developed players for the Whitecaps that have featured in this postseason.
And who'd have thought, but all three of those players you mentioned played in the LAFC match. Astonishing.
Okay, what's up with Uber Eats?
Well, game days, big deal for Uber Eats on Canucks game days. Look for great specials all season long, like buy one, get one free 6-pack chicken McNuggets at participating Vancouver McDonald's locations. That sounds pretty fun on a game day. Game days, you don't want to work. Let Uber Eats do the work for you. Download the app today and don't miss your exclusive game day deals.
Let's get to today's menu. It's a presentation of Greta, a fantastic spot to pregame or postgame. You're mere steps from the stadium or the arena. If you need a building for If you need a venue for a team-building social event, check out Greta. They have the fantastic arcade that encircles the bar. Excellent menu of delicious food. Your guests will love it. Go to gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. In a moment here, we will be joined inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio by Dan Riccio, former Vancouver Sports Talk host. He said his goodbyes on air last week. He's got a new venture. It was announced this week. And, he's working out of here a little bit until he makes the move. So, needless to say, first time ever having Dan on the program. Worlds colliding here. Also, Paul Dolan, of course, Blake's Whitecaps, MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Broadcast mate. He has called many a Whitecaps game over the years, and he will again this weekend, filling in for Colin Miller on CKNW. The radio call of this match with Asa Raymond. Paul, of course, former national team keeper and goalkeeping coach. We watched Saturday's big victory with him against LAFC, and he is going to break down this enormous game tomorrow from San Diego. So all of that is coming up on the program. A little later in the show, we'll also talk about the Vancouver Warriors beginning a season with aspirations for the first time and maybe ever. NLL, because they did so well last year, late in the year, making it to the league semifinals. We'll talk about them in the final block of the show. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day, Blake, and I am going right back to the Whitecaps match. I was on this match yesterday with with a Whitecaps win and both teams to score. I mean, I'm looking at the menu. A Thomas Muller goal pays plus 200. How can you not back one of the great thinkers, organizers, space interpreters, and winners in global sport in a big game like this? Give me the Raumdeuter to score against SDFC and dare to dream about the celebration.
Oh, can
Muller
you imagine?
At plus 200.
I'm looking at the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm looking at betting against the Seattle Seahawks. Not fully, but they have
Taking points here.
They have at times played down to the opposition.
Took the foot off the gas in the fourth quarter last week in Nashville. Of that, there is no doubt.
Yeah, so even a game like that where you're in control, but you allowed it to get pretty close. So I fear something similar. I think they pull it out, but I'm going to take the Vikings plus the 11.5 points.
Oh, my God. You know what I hated about that Seahawks game last week? You gave up the long kick return touchdown. That should have been the wake-up call, and that you still let them come back from there.
Yeah.
That was the coaching point McDonald needed. Gentlemen, this game isn't over. Keep playing. And they just sort of allowed Tennessee to create. They probably weren't threatened all that much, but that was not the, we talked about it Monday. That was not the, foot on the throat, leave no doubt win that a contender should have had against a terrible team.
Darnold was not super sharp in that.
No, he hasn't been sharp
one,
since all the picks.
And he's going to be under pressure by the Vikings line.
Oh, boy, those edge rushers are terrific for Minnesota. This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION. When doing so, must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Dan Riccio coming up next. Sekeres and Price from the historic Wall Center, and we have a special in-studio guest here at the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio. Spent 8 years talking sports on Vancouver radio, and now off on a new venture in his hometown, Off the Roster with Dan Riccio, Cabby, and Lindsay Dunn. Debuts December 1st on the Nation Network. And we have Mr. Riccio in studio. How are you?
What's happening, fellas? This feels like the old, I don't know if you guys are wrestling guys, but it's like the Monday Night Wars. It's like I just left WWE for WCW or something.
Yeah,
it's
that's a very good comparison.
You're Hollywood Hogan now.
No one wants to be Hollywood Hogan.
Exactly. Say hello to the bad guy over here.
Yeah, Hollywood Hogan now.
Yeah.
Hollywood Reach, I guess is, or I guess Big Smoke Reach, you can call me.
How's the last week been for you?
It's been good. It's been a lot. Obviously, Sportsnet does still, and 650 especially holds a really special place. What we did here was really cool, but I'm really excited for what we're building here now, and excited to join the new team.
I know it's difficult to say goodbye, and Blake and I had this experience, but when you do say goodbye, and in our case it was involuntary, what I found is you get a whole bunch of notes from listeners, some of whom may have screamed at you, Dan, called you all sorts of names, but they lay down arms and say, hey, just so you know, enjoyed listening to the show, made a part of my day.
They screamed at you and then tuned in again the next day.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, I used to hate how much you said Phil Di Giuseppe so much, and all these Italian names you would throw at me, and these things I didn't understand, and I hated it. And but at the end, I kind of loved it. I still will listen every day, and so yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing, right? You build such a community with your listeners, and that's the hard part. Is leaving that, but we're building something new here.
It's a tough task that you've got in terms of before you even were with Sat.
Yeah,
Sat was around, so you knew him. You didn't have to build chemistry from scratch. You're building chemistry from scratch. With do you know Cabby at all?
Yeah, I mean, come across Cabby a little bit, but not too much in a work perspective. And same with Lindsay. But we're building something pretty cool. I think we all bring a different kind of a balance to the show. Cabby's obviously done his thing in the field and great with interviews, and his personality is just so huge that it brings such a big element. And Lindsay, I mean, the work that she's put in over the last little while and watching her work from afar, especially during the Blue Jays World Series run and some of the great content she was putting together, I think, we all bring a different element to the show that's going to bring a nice balance and something a little bit different than the traditional sports talk show.
And who's got the hands on the wheel? Who's driving the bus?
That'll be all Lindsay.
Really?
She's gonna have to tee up me and Cabby and provide the assists on
Welcome
on a daily
to Two Chair Life. Embrace it,
man.
It's great over here.
This gig's just getting better and better each year.
Exactly.
How do you chalk up your Vancouver experience?
Honestly, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Really, I was a little bit, wanted to come out here when I found out that Sportsnet was launching the station. I immediately put my hand up. I have family out here, and it was, kind of growing up, it was like watching the Leafs, and then that 94 series happens with Pavel Bure, and I'm like, my heart's stolen by the Russian Rocket.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, that was my West Coast team for forever when I was growing up. And to come here and be able to be a part of that and get into the community was really special. But again, going back to the fans, a lot of people told me, like, aren't you worried? Like, Toronto guys don't really get accepted by Vancouver folks. And, I never really felt that ever. And so I appreciated the fans that embraced me, and I really embraced the sports market. I mean, an incredibly knowledgeable hockey fan that appreciated the work that we put in, and we're just as knowledgeable as we were on the radio every day, which I really enjoyed.
They'll keep you honest here.
Yeah,
they really do.
The interactions with the fan base and how they held you to account if you had such a bad take was always a big part of it.
What was it like to cover a winner for so long? Trick question.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that one.
Now,
we had one good year.
This is when you pivot to the Lions and Whitecaps.
Well, I mean,
believe it or not, the team that you're going to cover, a little embattled as well.
Yeah.
So you'll know the tone, I think. You'll know exactly what you're walking into.
That's the funny thing is the Toronto sports fan experience, at least from a Leafs and Canucks perspective, has been oddly similar through the many years, right? I mean, the Leafs never won anything in going back to the original 6 era, and really the last 10 years has been different for the Leafs because they've actually been a playoff team perennially, but still with playoff disappointments. And I kind of find it funny how much the franchises have mirrored each other in like questions of ownership being too meddlesome at times and how that's working out. And it's just
too meddlesome, not meddlesome enough.
Exactly.
And it just never allows the team to kind of build something that's consistently going in one direction.
Will you tell people that we're crazy out here?
Yes, you have to keep up the specter, Dan.
I don't mind being the bad guy here. Yeah, that's a good plan.
Tell
them we're crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
We're jackals.
I can take you all in Toronto. You're small potatoes compared to what I had in Vancouver. Will you miss covering the Canucks?
I definitely will miss parts of it. I mean, as much as it was and hasn't been successful on the ice outside of maybe that COVID shortened year, and then obviously what happened a couple years ago with the Pacific Division winning season. I mean, the storylines were just endless. You never struggled really for content in this market, even though we were covering one team, especially when we turned the show to Canucks Central. It was like we were never really short on content because the Canucks just always provided a new and interesting storyline that you wouldn't expect throughout the course of the season.
New and interesting. Yep. You're a huge soccer guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess you'll get a Canadian game and the World Cup experience in Toronto.
Yeah,
but
I really hope we can do a lot of World Cup content with the Nation Network here.
You think will there be a wistful tear in your eye when Canada's kicking off at BC Place here next June?
Yeah, it might be it might be a little bit difficult. I'm hoping there'll be the one game at BMO Field, so hopefully we'll be there for that. And I'm really excited for the country as a whole, man. I mean, I think we've seen it with soccer the last number of years, just how much there's been a building of it, and now finally, not just on the women's side, but also on the men's side, a national team that we can appreciate, that we can believe in, and what Jesse Marsh has been building. So for me, I mean, just to see the way that it's grown is immense. And I don't know what's going to happen after the World Cup, but I think only good things can happen after the World Cup.
Hey, something Vancouver and Toronto can agree on, right? Canadian senior national teams playing in big international sporting events.
Well, and the funny thing is, when I left Toronto in 2017, that was when TFC eventually went on to win MLS Cup. They flew me back out to Toronto to call.
You were the voice of TFC.
They flew me back to Toronto to call MLS Cup final, and they won that game over Seattle. And now it's like I'm leaving Vancouver, and who knows what's going to happen here with the Whitecaps.
The symmetry.
Right, so I don't know if history is repeating itself here, but
so take me through the game. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Vancouver, San Diego for the West.
I think missing Blackman is going to be probably the scariest part of the game, but we've seen the Whitecaps, overcome and paper over their center back absences.
Ralph Friso. Yeah. Who'd have thought?
All season long. I mean, I honestly like the Whitecaps team, the way that it's developed over the year. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of doubted Sorensen coming in. You used to see European coaches come over to MLS and not really have immediate success. So I was curious about that, but it's been obviously a dream season from every aspect of that situation. And not just Gald and what Mueller has brought, but guys like Sebastian Berhalter and how he's like
a star.
Like he's a star and probably a lock for the midfield of the U.S. men's national team now,
incredible.
Which nobody would have expected. I think they've just done an incredible job. Schuster's done an incredible job over the last couple of years, and I had some doubts when he first came in as well. So they've proved me wrong a number of times.
And they lost Pedro Vite. I remember watching MLS Season Pass week 8.
Yeah.
And I think Bradley Wright Phillips was saying he's my pick right now for first, third MVP.
League MVP. Yep.
And they ship him out, and they're still here. It's
like,
crazy.
classic Whitecaps selling one of their star players mid-season.
Yeah,
it's like, well, they had a plan, and they obviously made it work, even though they had to move on from Vite.
Okay, I know you said some farewells last week, but captive BC sports audience here, the mic's all yours. Whatever you want to impart on your way out.
Yeah, just to appreciate you guys and everything you've provided. Appreciate all the nice words I've gotten over the last week. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend the last 8 years with the Vancouver sports community, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. Thank you, everybody.
Well, welcome to the Nation Network. Welcome to the team here. Welcome to the Wall Center. I know you'll be working out of here for a little bit. That's Dan Riccio, everybody, with Cabby Lindsay Dunn. Off the roster debuts December 1st on the Nation Network. That was great. Now we just have to find a rival wrestling heel group.
Yes. Now we got to go. Is it WCW, NWO? How are we doing this?
New World Order. Sekeres and Price from the historic Wall Center.
This segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. You heard the term range anxiety, Matt?
Yes, I feel it on the golf course, usually at about 180 yards and out.
Right.
Especially if there's water in front of the green.
I'm talking more when it comes to electric vehicles.
I've never heard that term because it doesn't associate with the Toyota plug-in Prius, Blake.
It doesn't, you're right. Because between the gas and the battery, 962 kilometers?
Charge as you drive. Regular plug-in overnight at home. You don't need the special charger.
Lease a 2025 Prius plug-in SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. It includes a $3,000 discount right now. Jump into the next generation of vehicles. Jump into the 2025 Prius. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
As we welcome in the former Canadian national team keeper and coach, your broadcast partner on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, it's our dear friend, Mr. Paul Dolan. And we first must say thank you to Paul and to Adidas for taking us to the game last Saturday. Had a blast watching it with you, Paul.
It was a fan experience that I haven't felt, honestly, as a Whitecap fan since I was a kid back in the 70s and early 80s. And I went into the game kind of just thinking, we're going to see a spectacle here because we've got a full house and it's two very good teams and the history with LAFC. But the investment emotionally from the crowd, and I found for myself later in the game, supposing to be an impartial person, but obviously with a Whitecap tie and a Vancouver history, it was hard not to get wrapped up in the excitement of what happened and the whole adversity thing, right? Like, to me, that's where the drama really started to ramp up, was once the Whitecaps went down to 9 men, it just went to another level. And overcoming that and then finally winning with the last kick, it was an incredible experience.
I apologize to your left shoulder because I kept on hitting you with every ball that narrowly missed the net.
I kept elbowing him in the ribs every time LAFC was in possession.
It was a preposterous match.
It really was.
I don't know.
Paul, you've been around the game for so long. Have you ever seen that 11v9 for nearly a half hour and then being able to fend it off and keep the ball out of the goal?
No, and I am as bruised as the players were at the end of that from all the hits. But yeah, and the goalpost must be bruised as well, because I've never seen a sequence where the woodwork was hit 3 times in a 5-second span. And it was inches wide on so many different occasions. We were looking at each other, weren't we? Like, how did that not go in? And credit to the Whitecaps too. Of course, there's a huge bit of good luck, more than a bit. But I feel like when they went down to 9 and Berhalter moved to the crowd and raised their arms and said, let's keep this thing going, that, oh, geez, like they actually feel like they could get through this. Whereas I think the crowd was deflated once Son's game time free kick went into the goal. It was quiet in there. I think everyone felt the same. We're down to 10. We're against a team that's on the upswing, that's dominated the Whitecaps in the second half. There's no chance. And then when you go down to 9, it seemed like an even worse chance. But he kind of lifted the crowd right then and got everyone back in. But I've never seen anything like it. Jesper Sorensen said the same thing after the game, that he had never been in a situation where you had 9v11 and held off a team for that long. Inevitably, something goes in through good luck of the opposition or a good finish or what have you. But Martinez putting it wide, long off the post a couple of different times, and chance after chance being blocked. The Whitecaps dug deep, and full credit to them for it.
So the transition from that to this is of course, the Sun free kick comes at the expense of Tristan Blackman's second yellow. He's unavailable. We've been debating it all week. What is Paul Dolan's back line for the Vancouver Whitecaps this week?
What you got, Coach?
The good thing, the good thing about the Whitecaps this year is that they have been in so many situations where they've been shorthanded, either through international break, where international players were away, through injury, or just the fact that they've played so many different competitions this year that have gone right to the end. Canadian Championship winners, CONCACAF Championship or Cup go right to the final there. And now they're in the semifinal here. They have played so many different games in so many different scenarios with so many different players and we bring up the fact that so many different players have contributed, certainly offensively, where 21 different players score, which is a record across the Major League Soccer, and for the Whitecaps to have had that many people contribute, you know that whoever comes in, like a Tate Johnson, who I'm putting in at left back and pushing Laborda into the center of the center back position, I wouldn't want to start Judric Pupa just yet, because he's only played a few minutes for the Whitecaps. It's a massive match. The understanding between goalkeeper and center back, and between center back and central midfield and the rest of the team, is so important. It's so key that even though he is an experienced player, Pupa, who has a good pedigree, a good soccer playing pedigree, the element of I don't know what we're going to get here is too much to overcome. And when you've had a Tate Johnson come in and play as well as he has in these types of situations, remember, he played in the game in front of 55,000 at home against Messi and put the Miami players in his back pocket. He was excellent on the day. So I have full confidence in him, like Jesper Sorensen does, that he'll start in the left back position and that we'll see Laborda slide into the center back position.
I think my favorite moment of the match last Saturday was when Yohei Takaoka fired that absolute screamer to Sabi that led to the first Whitecaps goal. Keeper to keeper, Mr. Dolan. Okay, maybe would have liked to have seen him get a mitt on that Sun free kick, but holy cow, even you were just gobsmacked impressed at the way Takaoka was distributing the ball on Saturday.
Yeah, and I have been all year, but it's been mainly because of what he's been doing with his short passing and his confidence and comfort on the ball, and his ability to play out of the back in shorter situations where he might ping it to the flank, where he might find someone central in midfield. Blake and I did a game late in the season where you could see the opening of the midfield because of the way that the Whitecaps draw it up to attract the players to the flanks, to give them the space to ping balls right down on the deck, by the way, to the front runners, who then interchange and create chances from there. But this one, which was another set play where the Whitecaps draw the players, the defenders in from LAFC, and in this example, Brian White did a great job to do that from the front line, to open the space in behind for Emmanuel Sabi, and for Takaoka to not just lump it long, because he's got a cannon. He can kick it as far as any keeper I've ever seen. But the accuracy and the weight on the pass so that Lloris can't come out and get to it first, and that it holds up perfectly for Sabi, who does a nice job to put it over Lloris. It's a Route 1 goal, but it's one of the more attractive and, as a goalkeeper, pleasing goals that I've seen from the Whitecaps all season long.
What's the trickle down for this match? Because now San Diego knows that's a risk. Can the Whitecaps exploit the adjustments that San Diego might make for that? Like, what do you think the scouting war will look like there?
No, it's a good question, because for every action, there's a reaction. And I think the Whitecaps will do the same thing when they see the way that San Diego likes to attack. But the good thing with Takaoka is that he's adept at both the long ball and the short pass as well. Mm-hmm. So if they were to sit back, for instance, San Diego, then I think Takaoka could pick out the spaces on the flanks with the defenders dropping back, or he could pick out the spaces centrally, maybe not as far as into the feet of White, but maybe one of the central midfielders like Mueller could come back and play from there. And they're so confident that they are playing with 11 outfield players. No other MLS team has the luxury of having the ability to play out of the back with what is essentially becoming a 5-defender setup. And you get your wide players up, and then you've still got 3 to play out of the back.
Dolly watching Canada with Dane St. Clair, and I like Dane a lot, but I mean, watching him play the ball out of the crease versus Takaoka, like, oh my goodness, like Dane's got a long way to go there to distribute the ball like Yohei.
Yeah, it's a factor now. It really is. You go back to my days when the pass back was that you could pick it up with your hands, to where it is now is that you need to have a good ball playing goalkeeper, and not just a guy who under pressure can get rid of the thing,
right,
but someone who can help create right from that first possession, whether it's from a goal kick or balls in the hand. I feel like Takaoka is a very good goalkeeper. That's first and foremost what you bring the goalkeeper in to do, is to stop balls from going in. But his value with the ball at his feet is what has made him a goalkeeper of the year contender. And obviously Dane St. Clair won that, but there's no question who's a better player with the ball at his feet, and it's certainly Takaoka.
We have concerns and questions about how long Ryan Gauld can go, how long Brian White can go. These have been two of the stalwarts for Vancouver Whitecaps FC over the last several years. Paul, probably means even more emphasis on Thomas Muller. What are you expecting from the German, and what does he have to do if, in fact, he's not going to get a full 90 minutes from his number one striker in White and his midfield mate in Gauld?
I think the key to this game is ball domination. And the best defense, as they say, is a good offense. And what I mean by that is not necessarily outscoring the opponent, which is the ultimate goal, of course. But it's to control the ball so that while you're in possession, San Diego can't do anything about scoring on you. Obviously, being very careful when you're in possession. They call it the rest defense. When you're in possession, you make sure that you're prepared for a quick counter of the opposition. But San Diego has such a good midfield with Sekeres there and Anders Dreyer. The combination play that they have with those players. The danger is that the Whitecaps don't keep good possession and are under the cosh the entire game and sitting back, and that it's San Diego who can carve out chances. And the Whitecaps aren't necessarily a great counter-attack team, although they do have that certainly when they can get Sabi on the one side and Ali Ahmed on the other side into the attack. But the key for Thomas Muller is just to do what he's been doing for the Whitecaps, which is to control that possession, control the game, lay it off to players who are joining into the attack. I think the key for Vancouver defensively is going to be Kubas. He was absolutely sensational in the game against LAFC. For me, he was the man of the match. I couldn't believe the intensity that he brought. And that is important for Vancouver as well. I think that the Whitecaps will win this game if they play anywhere near the way that they played in the first half against LA, which was up to the ball so quickly, not allowing the opposition to turn. And so Muller, who's maybe not necessarily known for getting in the face of the opponent, he guides the rest of the team. He plays his part in setting that up. They've changed the way that they press now, the Whitecaps, since Muller's come in, more from the central from him rather than the flanks cutting in. And so, as always, he'll be a coach on the field, getting the most out of the players around him.
Perhaps it's not fair because it's the same for every team, but fitness is just going to be so key to this match in terms of who is closer to 100%, because Muller's not 100%, it doesn't sound like. We know Brian White's not. Ryan Gauld probably won't start and isn't 100%. I just wonder if those impact players are going to have enough in the tank to make the impact that the Whitecaps need them to make.
That's been the question so many times this year, though, hasn't it? And somehow they've been able to do it.
Yeah.
I heard Sebastian Berhalter say that he didn't feel it until the next day, well after the fatigue. So those 90 minutes, and you hope it's 90 and not 120 again for the very reason you just mentioned, Blake. But
yeah,
it doesn't concern me because they've found the reserves every single time. I don't feel that there's been a game this year where the Whitecaps have been out physical or out fitness. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they may have been out tactical or technical on the day, but it seems to me as if in the physical department, they've given everything for 90 minutes in every game, and there have been no blowouts. Ironically, maybe their worst performance of the year was the home performance to San Diego when they got battered and allowed 5 goals. But there's no Milanovsky. He's moved off to Philadelphia. He's the guy who scored 4 goals against the Whitecaps on the day.
That's right.
And the Whitecaps did go back to San Diego and draw 1-1 there in a game where they performed quite well. So I don't think that's going to be a concern. I don't think the physical side is going to be a concern. I wonder if the pitch is a bit of a concern.
That was my next question to you, Mr. Dolan. It was a chewed up, rain-soaked, sandy, dead, broken pitch for San Diego, Minnesota Monday in the other Western semi. If it is a similar surface on Saturday. Is that advantage either side?
The weather looks good. The weather's like 18 degrees for the next few days, so it looks like it has the chance to repair.
Yeah. I wonder how quickly it can repair from a Monday to a Saturday.
Yeah.
At this time of the season, I'm not so sure, whether they have the lamps on it or what, but it's ironic too that Hugo Lloris has a go at the BC Place turf, and then at least it plays well, even if it doesn't look great, that's for sure. But that you've got a grass pitch now, that there are some concerns, and even their star midfielder Yepi Tereskov said the pitch is broken, as you alluded to there, Matt. Right, so they probably want the pitch to be able to be playable as much as the Whitecaps do, but with guys that are in that destroyer mentality, like Berhalter, like Kubas, even Thomas Mueller, who said it's a brutal game. I think he loved the fact that it was a brutal game against LAFC, and it wasn't one maybe on technical skill, but it was one on heart. I think that favors Vancouver again.
Mm-hmm.
Care for a prediction, sir?
Well, we've got to continue this thing, don't we? I think a 2-1 Whitecap victory is not out of the question in 90 minutes, but it might go beyond that. So maybe 1-1 and then 2-1 overall. But I think the Whitecaps have there's no reason why they can't win this game. So yeah, I'll look on the positive side.
Yep. Let's keep it going.
And go NYCFC.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to see MLS Cup here at BC Place next Saturday, because really I can remember Paul moving out here 18 years ago, and Vancouver had something that no other city in the country had, and that was a romance with a soccer team that won a championship, and of course talking the 79 Soccer Bowl Whitecaps. This has been, for my money, the best Canadian soccer market, period, and I think a new generation of footy fans deserve something like everybody got in 79. With the Soccer Bowl and the parade.
Yeah, well said. It's been so good for the city. It's rekindled a lot of what I felt as a youngster, where there have been some bare patches since, certainly in the MLS era. But the entire interest that, truthfully, I think the good season that the Whitecaps have had, but put over the top when Thomas Mueller came in, there's just something extra special right now. And this run that they're on, you just hope it can continue so that we see the same thing that we saw on Saturday.
All right. Rest up those ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that from last week.
It was a crazy match.
It was a crazy match. We all got a little
awesome
watching. It was so much fun, Paul. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. Enjoy the match. We'll catch up soon.
You too, guys. Take care.
Sekeres and Price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. Game night, make it a game weekend. Turn that ticket into a downtown getaway with a special Sekeres and Price rate here at the Wall. Call 604-331-1000. Just say you heard it here. Some blackout date supply based on availability. Well, Vancouver Whitecaps FC with its biggest MLS game ever, the biggest soccer match for a Vancouver side since the 79 semi of the NASL versus the New York Cosmos, en route to Soccer Bowl championship.
Crazy.
The serial winner, Thomas Mueller, leads his team into expansion San Diego FC, where there are concerns about the quality of the pitch. There are concerns about the availability of the Whitecaps back line, but there are no concerns about this club's mettle nor its resiliency after last week's improbable win over LAFC when they were down to 9 men. A reminder, this is an Apple TV game. It kicks off at 6 p.m.
If you want to gripe about this game not being on TV, quote unquote, don't send it my way, please.
He said a bee in his bonnet about that all week. I saw him lecturing people on CTV earlier in the week.
Honest to God.
Well, I mean, here's what I'll say, Blake. It is a shame that this isn't on basic cable. That exposes you to more people. That is still the best place to aggregate a big audience in today's day and age. But
that may be true, but don't act like you can't watch the game.
The soccer fan in particular has been more accustomed, experienced, inclined to have to go to different streaming services to watch.
I saw somebody say, "Hey, the Golden Eyes are on TV, but the Whitecaps aren't." Well, get ready, folks. There's Golden Eyes games on Amazon Prime too. And on those days, what are you gonna say?
Well, there's NHL games on Amazon Prime now on Monday nights. You don't get every Canucks game anymore with basic cable. You'll need Amazon Prime for those Monday
New World Order
appearances. Okay, tell me how you see this game playing out. You've seen San Diego play. You cover the MLS, call games. Tell me how you see this game playing out.
I mean, I don't want to raise expectations lest something unexpected happen, but these are two teams that know how to play the sport of soccer, and that may go without saying to some. But no, there are teams that, I mean, Minnesota plays a smash and grab kind of soccer that is not pleasing to the eye, and as we saw last week, is not entertaining. FC Dallas, a worse version of that. So not all teams play the sport the way that it is meant to play. Both of these teams do. Now that could
are they an on the ball or a counterattacking team?
No, they're an on the ball team. They'll
so
build.
Like Vancouver.
Yeah. I mean, they do it a tad differently, but no, this is a team that builds and scores nice goals. Now that could neutralize each other. Like, who knows? There's a small sliver of me that's thinking, oh God, are they just going to play between the boxes rather than actually getting into the final thirds and scoring opportunities? Because do they just neutralize? Is it the two Spider-Men pointing at each other? I don't know. I hope that's not the case. Here's the other thing I was looking at, because I felt this in my gut, and so I wanted to see if it was true. The Whitecaps had a very nice road record this season in Major League Soccer, but they beat the teams they were supposed to beat on the road. The good teams or big games on the road, especially in this final third of the season, they had the road playoff game versus Dallas. It was a 1-1 match. They won it on penalties, but it was a 1-1 match. They had Seattle in late September, a 2-2 match. They went to where's the next one? San Diego in late July, 1-1 match. And there's one other draw in there I'm skipping over. The big matches on the road against good teams, pretty much all draws at the end of the season. So this is going to be a slog. Like they had a tough time against the good teams. And this isn't really a criticism. I mean, road matches in soccer are the toughest games to win. And you often take a road draw. But of course, it's the playoffs. No such thing. So I expect this to be a tight game. And you talked about a 2-2 match against LAFC in your Bet365 prediction way back when. It's not a terrible idea this time around either. Like, I think a 1-1 or a 2-2 is a good idea here. This one might go extra time again.
Yeah. Draw goes off at plus 260 on Bet365. The Caps are slight underdogs here. It's San Diego to win at plus 140, Vancouver to win at plus 180. Of course, that's in regulation time.
The backline decision is a huge one for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I can purport to know what the right call is for him, rather to go with Priso and Laborda, which we have seen.
I think so. I think that's it.
Or take put Laborda where he's been so good going forward, right? Like the problem with putting Laborda in the middle. He was the man
of the match day Saturday across MLS. He was viewed as the single best performance of anyone.
As a fullback, he has been, because he's so aggressive. He's so fun to watch. He scampers into the box. He's a dream fullback. But he does play a decent center back too, and is that the better play rather than taking a chance on a guy who hasn't played like a Pupa or a Schonlau?
I think you've got to go safe.
Yeah.
I know Sorensen isn't sort of the safest bar the door coach, but
this isn't that. This is just a safer deployment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tate Johnson, Tate Johnson played against Messi.
Tate Johnson played very well this year. Let the kid have his chance there.
Yeah.
Especially since he didn't play last week, Blake. I mean, they need fresh legs after the shifts some of those guys put in last week.
Yeah.
Especially those who were on the pitch for all 25 minutes when it was 11v9.
I am super curious about Pupa, but this isn't the time to be curious.
No, exactly. The time for experimentation is done. Well, one Vancouver winning team towards the end of his season, one Vancouver winning team just starting its season. Vancouver Warriors home opener goes Saturday night, Rogers Arena versus Colorado. You may remember this club made the NLL semifinals last year. They lost to the eventual champion Buffalo, who are the three-time defending reigning champions now. It was their most successful season to date, this after years and years of misery with this club. Coquitlam's Christian Del Bianco, arguably the best goaltender in the Loop, returns alongside head coach GM Kurt Malosky. And Malosky got busy this offseason, went big game hunting, adding 3 British Columbians who all helped Malosky win a championship with the Calgary franchise in 2019. Victoria's Jesse King, Poco's Curtis Dixon are charged with helping the offensive attack, and that was where they were a little bit lacking last year, Blake, as you watched them late in the season. They were a sensational defensive team, did not give up a whole lot, but needed a few more goals when the stakes got big against Buffalo. Langley's Reese Calise joins an already stout defensive group. Our buddy Teddy Jenner, who calls NLL games for TSN, Blake, tells me this is a team that could very well make the finals and bid to unseat Buffalo atop the Loop. It should be a very exciting season of lacrosse at Rogers Arena this year.
I would warn the Canucks that this is another team that could steal some shine, except
it's owned by the Canucks. That's the other important thing here. Canucks Sports and Entertainment has a franchise right now that is being very well managed and winning. It is possible. They're an example for the parent hockey club. Here's how you do it. Hire good people, let them make the decisions, give them the resources they need, because Del Bianco was a huge trade last year when they made it, bringing him over from Calgary. They've got good people in good places there, and they're winning.
And I don't know the duties as assigned currently in the organization, but Dax Aquilini, I think, had some.
Dax Aquilini has oversight on this franchise. This is Francesco's nephew, Roberto's son. I have heard nothing but great things about Dax Aquilini for years now. About the type of guy he is, about how smart he is. No, he is very much an up-and-comer in terms of
it's a brain exploder, a well-run Aquilini-led sports franchise.
He is not like his uncle, what people tell me. And don't look now, but the Raptors might be the best team in the NBA's East. Crazy, I know, but they've won 9 straight games here, Blake. Going into the Thursday is always a dark day for the NBA. They get out of the way for the NFL. They take over Christmas, or at least they used to. Mm-hmm. They won 9 straight. They turned a middling 5-5 start into 14-5. They're second place in the East, a game and a half behind Detroit. Brandon Ingram, near buzzer beater Wednesday to beat Indiana in a close game. They've won close games. They've won blowout games. Ingram, one of 3 guys averaging 19-plus points per game. The Canadian R.J. Barrett's another one of them. They're at Charlotte and the Knicks this weekend, looking to push that streak.
I have actually watched a couple of Raptors games this season.
So have I. They're fun.
They're pretty fun, too, yeah.
Their starting 5 is really good.
Yeah, and they can defend as well. They're not
like
just
Barnes, Quickly, Pirtle, Ingram, and Barrett. It's a very good starting 5.
I like Quickly, too. I like Quickly a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we said it at the beginning of the year. They look a little better. You know, if they play the defensive end, they could be a tough out.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fun as well. Boy, a lot of things going well for Canadian sports right now. Just
except
not
for the hockey.
The NHL.
Except for the hockey. You know, the sport.
As mentioned, this is a bit of a different show, so we will get to poll question results, errors, and omissions on Monday's program. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with us. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky Live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time, weekdays. Lastly, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Keep it local. Go Caps. Should be fun.